Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are in the world. We welcome you to the IFAMA 2024 Virtual Symposium. My first presenter and guest today is Anele Mayekiso. She is from a lecturer at the Department of Agricultural Economics and Extension at the University of Fort Hare, South Africa, teaching undergraduates and postgraduate students research methods in agricultural economics and extension and marketing and agricultural products at an undergraduate level. Currently, her research focuses on underutilized and indigenous vegetables, food insecurity, rural livelihoods, and rural economies. And with that, I would like to introduce Anna.
Very good day to everyone. I am Anele Mayekiso and I'm presenting on the determinants for uses of indigenous leafy vegetables, a strategy to boost rural household food security in Alfred Nzo District municipality in the Eastern Cape province of South Africa. This is the outline of the presentation. I'll start by giving a brief background information and lastly conclude and provide some recommendations based on the study results. Moving to the background information of the study, at global level, indigenous vegetables are noted as vital sources of nutrition. They also have a potential to improve dietary diversity as well as alleviating food insecurity. Other researchers also confirm that these vegetables also provide a significant source of income to many rural households. In South Africa, as per Statistics South Africa's 23 report, many rural households are associated with poor nutrition status as well as low poverty levels. For example, between 2018 and 2021, the number of undernourished people in South Africa amounted to about 4.1 million. And at this point, about 3.3 million people of the population in South Africa are living in poverty. The national poverty line of about 992 South African rands, while at this stage, about 13.8 million people are still experiencing food poverty. To get to the point, given the benefits that these vegetables offer in terms of reducing poverty and food insecurity, especially at household level, they can be utilized as alternative food sources or alternative vegetables by many communities, especially within rural context. In the African continent, countries such as Malawi, Ethiopia, Nigeria, Mozambique, Zimbabwe, and some regions of South Africa are the countries that use these vegetables for various purposes. And these vegetables are highly used for food and medicinal purposes, or rather the vegetables that are highly used for food and medicinal purposes, and some they are also considered for income purposes, include the amaranth, pigweed, nightshade, cowpea, bitter melon, pumpkin leaves, blackjack, and jute mallow. Coming to the problem statement of the study. In as much as these vegetables provide a significant value to people's well-being or welfare in terms of food and health benefits that are associated with these vegetables, there are also opportunities that these vegetables have in terms of boosting our household income or generating income from these vegetables. The number of socioeconomic characteristics that are already mentioned by preceding literature in terms of the determinants of IV preferences by households. And these characteristics include age, race, gender, employment status of a household head or individual members, as well as household income. And the studies that are conducted previously in South Africa concerning these vegetables mainly focus on the production status of these vegetables or the production level of these vegetables, the consumption status and preferences of individual household members on these vegetables, as well as the market opportunities for these vegetables. However, in South Africa, there is little research that is conducted concerning marketing of these vegetables as well as their value chain system when compared to other African countries such as Ghana and Nigeria, to provide some examples. In as much as studies are conducted in South Africa and reported the use of IVs by many rural households, it is not clear what determines these households to use ILVs as either food, medicinal, or income sources. Hence, the study was conducted. Moving to how the problem statement was, or the problem of the study was broken down. A broad objective was formulated with its specific objectives. The broad aim of the study was to analyze the determinants of the use of indigenous vegetables by rural households in Alfred Nzo District municipality in the Eastern Cape province. And the first specific objective was to profile the socio-economic characteristics of households. So to achieve the third objective, which is third specific objective rather, which was to determine the socio-economic factors influencing different use of ILVs by rural households, while another specific objective focused on describing the use of ILVs by rural households. Moving to the methodology of the study was conducted in the Alfred Nzo District municipality, which is situated in the Eastern Cape province of South Africa. The municipality is one of the municipalities that are classified by high poverty levels within the province. And to give an example, there are about two local municipalities within the district, such as Ntabankulu local municipality and Umzimbugu local municipality, with Ntabankulu classified as one of the poorest province or poorest municipalities at national level. Hence, the study area was chosen so that there could be opportunities or some insights that are provided in order for communities within the district to consider utilizing these vegetables for various purposes as a strategy of alleviating food insecurity instances, as well as a way of reducing poverty within the district. So the study considered a cross-sectional research design where quantitative primary data was collected through the use of questionnaires using face-to-face interviews with the respondents. 196 rural households were assembled using a simple random sampling method, and household heads were used as unit of analysis in a situation where a household head was not available. Any person in a position to make household decisions was considered, pertaining that they have all the information that was required for a household head individual. So the data analysis tools that were used to address the specific objectives of the study included descriptive statistics using features such as frequencies, percentages, mean, maximum, and minimum values to profile these socioeconomic characteristics of households while describing different uses of ILVs. And lastly, to determine socioeconomic factors influencing the use of ILVs by households, a multinomial logistic regression model was used. This is just some insights of the results, descriptive results to be specific. So I just used a number of few variables, not a number of variables, few variables to just give some insights or explanation in terms of utilizing these vegetables within the rural context. Okay, the maximum age of a person that was interviewed was 77 years old, while the youngest person that was interviewed in the study was 28 years old. And then the observed household size was a bit large, which is like 14 members per household, with a maximum household income of South African rands, which cannot even support up to one person on monthly basis, given the increase in high food prices, electricity, and other household basic needs. Therefore, this creates also an opportunity for these vegetables to be considered as alternative food sources or alternative vegetables for communities so that household can be in a platform or in a situation where they minimize certain expenses to consider these vegetables as a source of food. And another interesting observation is that these vegetables are highly used as food source by many rural households, which also aligns with what other previous studies have observed because in principle, these vegetables are not produced in a conventional manner by many rural households. They grow freely in home gardens, in open fields, and so forth. And then this gives households and individuals an opportunity to harvest these vegetables for free without having to purchase them. Although in some situations they are not available throughout the year. That means the availability of these vegetables in some areas becomes seasonal. So moving to the empirical results that were observed by the study. Okay, during data analysis and data collection, there were three categories that were used, and these three categories were limited or chosen based on preceding literature, which clearly defined that in most cases households they use this vegetable as income source, food source, or medicinal source. Although there are a few households that also consider these vegetables as livestock feed or or any indigenous plants that they can use to feed their animals. So in this case, when one is running a multinomial regression model, there should be a base category that is chosen so that it can be used as a reference to interpret the results. So in the case of this study, household food source was chosen as a base category, or yes, was chosen as a base category, sorry, in a sense that the idea is that household consider or shift from using the ILVs as income source or medicinal source into using these vegetables as food source. So income source and medicinal source or sources were categorized as alternative categories in the study in terms of interpreting the results. So the idea is that the variables that were included in the model hold um, high significance as well as giving some insights of the coefficients that were observed, that is the positive and the negative coefficients. So the point is the variables that had a positive coefficient and significant at the same time is that household would consider to remain in the or to shift rather in the from the alternative category to the base category, meaning that household would consider to use more of indigenous vegetables as food source rather than income source or medicinal sources, which are alternative categories. And in a situation where the variable had a negative coefficient, it means that the household are likely to remain in the alternative category, which is households are likely to consider to use ILVs as income source or medicinal source instead of using these vegetables as food sources. And some of the highly significant variables that were observed across these categories included age, household size, level of education, gender, awareness about nutrition and health benefits of these vegetables. And moving to the conclusion and some recommendations provided by the study. Um, Variables such as the age of a household head, education status, nutrition, and health benefits positively influence household to either use these vegetables as income source or food source, while variables like household size, gender of a household head, household income, employment status of a household head, and seasonal production of these vegetables negatively influenced household to either use these vegetables as income or food sources. The decision of using these vegetables as medicinal or food source was positively influenced by the age of the household head, household income, nutrition, and health benefits awareness. While the choice to use ILVs as either medicinal or food source was negatively influenced by household size, education status, employment status of the household head, and seasonal availability of these vegetables. To provide some recommendations, government institutions such as Department of Health need to advocate through clinics and hospitals the nutrition components that these vegetables hold so that there could be awareness that is brought into the picture in communities at large so that there could be influences that are stimulated to use these vegetables as main food sources, not per se main food sources, but they can be used as vegetables to supplement dietary diversity and dietary requirements for households. While the Department of Agriculture for extension personnel could also introduce and promote some programs that are focusing on production of these vegetables so that they can be available at a larger scale so that they can also attract demand by different personnels and ultimately the consumption of these vegetables is likely to increase as well. And lastly, the Department of Education through schools can also include the feeding programs that are specifically for indigenous vegetables so that learners can have an opportunity to transfer the information that they obtained to their household members and also provide some insights of the benefits that these vegetables hold and also introduce some school programs that are focusing on educating learners about these vegetables. So to expand the platforms of awareness and knowledge transformation and transferring of knowledge. To this end, this will require policymakers and other entities that are focusing on promoting rural development and focusing on food security to work together to ensure that these vegetables are included into food systems as a way of alleviating poverty and as a way of alleviating food insecurity within the rural context. That brings me to the end of the presentation. Thank you very much. I'll be waiting for questions.
Thank you, Anele. Very nice. Hello, audience. Welcome to the IFAMA 2024 Virtual Symposium. We're glad you're here today. Now, a really interesting presentation. What do you think the results of your research will mean for improving food security in rural communities?
Thank you for the question. I think the results are very promising, especially if you look at the descriptive statistics in terms of using these vegetables for various purposes. I think a large proportion is already utilizing these vegetables as their source of food or as their source of vegetable. But the most important thing that is still lacking about these vegetables is that they are not produced mostly in a conventional manner. I think I mentioned that. And again, in some regions, in most regions of South Africa, they are available on seasonal basis. And again, there are a number of households, especially households that are probably headed by men, to make an example. they are not aware about the nutrition and the health benefits that these vegetables, they like the nutrition and the health benefits these vegetables hold. I think there's a lot of awareness that needs to be done. I don't want to use gender as a term of specifying who's who or who needs to participate in these vegetables, because the point is, in most regions of South Africa, especially in the Alfred Nzo and some regions of OR Tambo, these vegetables are abundant, but they are not used at all. That's where the households need to come in and take opportunity of these vegetables, and to also support spending money on grocery items so they can save some of the money instead of purchasing fresh vegetables from the commercial markets or whichever markets that they normally purchase their vegetables, to take advantage of these, because literature also suggests that these vegetables, they also hold higher nutritional values compared to the ones that we normally consume, like the ones that we regard as exotic vegetables like spinach, cabbage, and so forth, which are produced in a conventional manner. I think that's my take when it comes to the results. They are very promising. It's just that a lot of awareness needs to be brought into the picture, and also the government support must also be included or be advocated for, so that there could be programs that are mainly aligning to production of these vegetables, as well as marketing of these vegetables, because they also have an opportunity of generating income for households so that they can sustain their other livelihood needs. Thank you.
Am I allowed to ask a question?
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. I think I joined late. I tried to join early, but my network was very bad. I've seen the results, but once it's a farmer platform, I would like to know, do you have any managerial implication from the results? Managerial implication from the results. Once it's an agribusiness platform, I would like to know, because we are more concerned about management. Do you have any managerial implication of your results? Because I saw something on policy, but I'm not seeing the managerial implication. Do you have anything on managerial implication based on the results? Thank you.
I'm not sure if I understand or I follow your question.
Okay. So what I'm saying is that since it's a farm platform and it's more of agribusiness, I've listened to your results. What I'm asking is that, with that, I have that in mind, that there must be a managerial implication of the results, a managerial recommendation of the results. I've seen that one for policy, but I'm asking whether your results, there's a tick on managerial implication.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much for the question. No, I don't have that. I don't have the managerial policy or recommendation in the results, but it's something that I can look at.
And now, why did you choose to look at the socioeconomic factors of households rather than things like institutional and financial? I think that question really kind of ties into Richard's question there.
All right. Thank you for the question. Again, you know what? I wanted to include some other factors, such as environmental factors, maybe how the climate change has impacted the availability of these vegetables. And also, I was hoping to also use some institutional factors, such as government support and so on. But like I've said, most of the factors that I chose, for example, the socio-economic factors that I've selected, is because at least there was information that was directing me to the socio-economic factors that I can use. But the other factors were not clearly defined, which I understand it's another research gap that I was supposed to look at. But the point is, I was supposed to identify variables that I'm going to include in the model for analysis. So if they were not clearly defined by literature in terms or in relation to indigenous vegetables, of course, I was not going to have sufficient data for analysis purposes. That was my take.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Excellent. We
Thank you.
Another question? Someone had their hand up?
No, it's me, ma'am.
What's your question?
Yes, Doc, I just wanted to ask about your sampling size, which is 196. How did you arrive to 196? And then since you also use the simply random sampling, did you have a sampling frame? Thank you.
Thank you very much for the question, Mr. Mnuka. Yes, I did had a sampling frame for the study areas. So I arrived at 196 using an information that was provided to me by the Alfred Nzo District municipality. But the information that was provided, it was not like precise, like this is the number of rural households that we have in Tabankulu or Umzimvu, because I actually focused on two local municipalities under the district. So they gave me a number of rural households, but classifying them into rural and urban ward areas. So what I did, I only selected the rural ward areas, and then I focused on collecting the data from the administrative villages. So with that, I had the list from the local authorities where I started doing the simple random sampling. So I did have a sampling frame to answer your question, but it was guided by the information that it was given to me by the municipality and the local authorities of the administrative villages within the municipality. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Anele, for contributing to the virtual symposium. We appreciate your research and your presentation.
Thank you very much.